everyone, it's Miss Jones and welcome to our art lesson. As we get further into winter, the weather outside gets colder. And as it gets colder, there is a higher possibility we could experience the winter chill of snow. Now, at first glance, snow just looks like a light and fluffy powder. But in reality, each tiny piece of snow is an amazing, unique work of art we call a snowflake. Today we're going to make our own snowflake design using an art form called Mosaic. A mosaic is a pattern or image made of small pieces of material, most commonly glass or stone, which is held in place by plaster, which is a sticky glue. Mosaics are often used as floor decorations and are particularly popular in ancient civilizations like Rome and Greece, as well as in early Islamic architecture and Catholic churches. Now for our snowflake today, there are a few different materials you're going to need. So first you're going to need a white piece of paper. This is going to be used for our background, what our mosaic is going to be stuck onto. You're also going to need a pencil. We're going to draw out our design first with pencil. And if you'd like to use a ruler, we're going to be drawing some lines. So if you like the straight lines, you can use a ruler for that, but this is optional. We're also going to need scissors for cutting out our little materials, but if you would like to rip and use your hands to rip our material paper instead, that's totally fine. You're also going to need glue to stick down your materials, so this is going to act as our plaster. And finally, our material is going to be paper. So we're going to use colored construction paper as our little bits for our mosaics to create our image. So I chose kind of winter cool colors here, like purple, different colors of blue, some green for my snowflake. But if you have different colors you would like to use, you can really use whatever colors you'd like. But these are the colors I'm using today. So our first step is to draw out our snowflake. So you can have your paper either tall way or long way, whichever you prefer. I'm gonna do mine tall way. And we're gonna use our ruler if you have one and would like to use one, and our pencil to draw a few lines. So there's a lot of different kinds of snowflake designs out there. I'm going to do a pretty simple design. I wanna keep mine pretty simple because the mosaic makes it a little difficult, but if there's a different design you want to use, you can. You can also do several different mosaics and use several different snowflake designs. That's okay with me too. So I'm first going to draw my snowflake by just drawing a straight line kind of in the middle of my paper here. So we're going to do one line kind of across. And then snowflakes have 6 points. Actually, always, it's pretty cool. They always have 6 points. So right now we've got 2 and we need to add 4 more. So how we're gonna do that is we're going to do kind of a diagonal line from this top corner here down to this corner. So we're gonna kind of line it up with those corners there. And we want it to go through our, straight, horizontal line there. So I'm going to draw it like that. And it can be a long line, it can be a short line, however you feel fit. And then I'm going to draw a second line now, kind of going through the same place, kind of line up those pieces here. It's okay if they don't all intersect in the same place, but you'd kind of like them to be at least close. So there I kind of have like an X with a line through it. So this is gonna be my snowflake. And if it's a little long in some places and you want to, you know, make it a little shorter in some, that's totally fine with me. So we kind of have this X and with a line through it. This is kind of our 6 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our snowflake. So now we can add a little bit more design because snowflakes kind of have these cool branches that kind of come off of them. So on each of my lines here, I'm going to draw kind of a few more lines just jetting out. And if you're not using a ruler, that's totally okay because we're going to be covering up these lines anyway. They're kind of just a guide. So I kind of drew two coming off like a triangle there. And I'm going to do that kind of on all my lines here. Voila, so I have my snowflake design now. So we can put away our ruler and our pencil, and now we're going to want to glue our little bits onto there, but we first need to make our little bits. So get out your colored construction paper. And I'm going to show you how we're going to make our mosaic pieces. So take one of your pieces of paper. A lot of the time, mosaics are made up of little pieces of stone and glass, and usually they are cut into squares or rectangles. So we're going to cut our paper into little tiny squares today. Like I said, if you don't have scissors, you can always use your fingers and just kind of like rip little bits. That's totally okay too. Gives it kind of a cool, different texture and effect. But if you want to do kind of little squares like I am, here's kind of the easiest way to do that. So we have our piece of paper here. We want to take our scissors in the other hand, and we're gonna hold our paper kind of on the edge over here, the opposite place from where we're gonna cut. So we want to make sure our hand is far away so it doesn't, so we don't actually accidentally cut ourselves. And we're just gonna cut some big long strips. So we just kind of made a big long rectangle here. So we're going to do that a few times with our paper. So once we have our strips here, we're going to make our little pieces now from these. So we already have a rectangle, but we're going to need to make them even smaller. So grab one of your strips you just cut, again holding your piece of paper with one hand farther away from where you're going to cut. We kind of have our hand on one side, our scissors on the other, and we're going to just cut little kind of squares or rectangles. So we're going to cut along this line, and as you get closer to your hand, remember to kind of move your hand down farther away from your piece there, or from your scissors there. So you might have to kind of hold on to the very edge when your scissors get close there. So now we have a few different little squares and pieces, and you can kind of put those off in a pile. It's okay if you ever lose any of these because you can always cut more, right? We're kind of going to do this with a couple different colors so that we have kind of a wide range of colors we want to use. So again, just cutting my squares. You don't need to cut too many squares, so I did like about 3 strips of the purple. That's usually about enough because we're gonna use a bunch of different colors, and if you run out of any of your pieces, you can always cut more. So one way I am kind of cutting down, sorry, no pun intended, cutting down on the time of cutting these little pieces out is I'm actually cutting strips like this, and then I'm kind of putting them on top of each other and then cutting my squares at the same time, or my little rectangles at the same time. So that way I don't have to cut too much, and I can kind of go through it a little bit quicker. But there we go. So I have my different colors. I kind of kept them in piles so I can kind of pick from which ones I want to arrange them on my snowflake design. So here we have our pieces. So now we get to do the fun part, which is starting to create our mosaic and put our pieces on our piece of paper here and on our design. So you're gonna need your glue stick next. And there's a few ways you can kind of do this. So if you want, you can kind of glue each piece like on the back here like this, and then glue it down onto your design. Or if you'd like, you can always kind of like almost draw your over your design with glue like this, and then kind of stick your pieces on it like that. Your pieces might not stick as well with that method, but they will stick pretty good, and then you don't kind of have to do that. You might have to re-glue it a few times if it starts to lose stickiness, but that's kind of another way you can do it. But do whatever you kind of like. I kind of like putting it on the back. It just seems kind of easier to me. So start to kind of layer your colors, layer your mosaic pieces, follow along your design. If you want to make your pieces smaller, you can make them larger, but you're kind of gonna cover your pieces like that. Alrighty, so after you finish gluing all of your mosaic pieces onto your paper, you now have a beautiful snowflake mosaic. So make sure you put your name down at the bottom. Sign your name as the artist. so people know who created this beautiful work. And there you have it. Thanks you everyone. I hope you enjoyed this activity. I know paper cutting can be kind of tedious, but it always looks so beautiful in the end, and it's kind of fun to use our hands and get nice and sticky and dirty here to create our own art, especially from home. So thank you everyone. I hope you had a great time and enjoy the season. Bye.